Hello guys, and we're here today with another interesting deck profile. With the Dark Illusions coming out, we have Trains now in the TCG, and I'm just going to say it outright, this deck is not going to be very competitive. It's going to be a fun deck to take to locals, and maybe to regionals if you really don't care about winning, but honestly, I don't think this deck is going to win against Monarchs, against a lot of stuff. It's pretty nice of a deck, but it just doesn't have the power that it did in the OCG. And I'm not actually sure how successful Pure Trains was. I know Shaddoll Trains were a thing for a bit in the OCG, but I might do a deck profile of them on a later date. There's a lot of other stuff like Dark Magicians and a whole bunch of other cards that I have to get to. And we're going to be getting Cyber Angels and Guardians pretty soon, so I also need to work on deck profiles for them. But this deck definitely is fun. Being able to make those higher level rank 10s, which there aren't a lot of. I think we're running pretty much most of the rank 10s that can be made. So I'm just going to go into the deck profile running 2 Malefic Cyber End Dragon. We do run a field spell, and this guy is just pretty easy to summon out. You can just banish this card from your graveyard, either one of them, and place this guy on the field, so he's really easy to summon. This guy can be normal summon without tributing, even if you control monsters, which is really nice. And its attack becomes 0. If you can normal summon or special summon an Earth Machine type monster, you can special summon this guy to your side of the field. So you can get out. So all 3 of these guys are level 10, so that's really great. And if he is detached as XYZ material, you can target one card your opponent controls and destroy it. So that's pretty strong. So you summon out this guy, and then you can special summon out this guy. Boom, rank 10 right then and there. Exodius is pretty easy to summon. You just have to send back all of your monsters in your graveyard back to your deck. Tragodia is easy to summon as a level 10. You just have to take damage, which nobody wants to. But hey, he can be summoned. And he's dark, so if you really want to, you could put in a lure. Ruffian Railcar is probably one of the strongest cards in this deck because it can be summoned out with Switchyard and made level 10 with Switchyard. But if it's sent to the graveyard this turn, you can search out Night Express Knight or Train Duracrane, which is very strong for this deck, just having a searcher. And that's honestly the downfall of this deck, is it doesn't have a really good searcher for these guys. Well, it has 6 searches, because Revolving Switchyard can also search, and it's a field spell, so it stays, and you can use it over multiple turns. But I feel like the deck's just a tad bit slow. I don't know. But pretty much like the style of this deck is you summon out this guy who can make himself unaffected by everything, and then you just set 5 back row. Well, you don't set 5 back row, but you want to set back row and just tell your opponent, no, you can't play and you can't get rid of this monster. That's how this deck plays. Mathematician to send the Ruffian Rail card, so that way we can get a search, so kind of another searcher. Instant Fusion, so that way we can get back the Ruffian Rail card, so we can make rank 4s, and then get off another search. And then Raigeki is Raigeki, Triple Pot of Desires, because why not? We're just running the extra back row because of Pot of Desires, so that way we get around its whole banish 10 cards. And again, like I said, you want to have plenty of back row, so you do want to see these cards, because if you have like Vanity's Emptiness and this guy out, it can be very annoying. Soul Treasure, just being able to summon out a whole bunch of these level 10s is just extremely strong. Just summon them back out, and then your opponent can't. You just have huge monsters. This guy becomes 3,000, this guy's 28, you can just do a whole one, make all these really strong rank 10 monsters, and the opponent can't get over it. Triple Terraforming, because again, we really want to see switching Revolving Switchyard, and we really don't want to see it get banished. So definitely Triple Terraforming. Foolish Burial, again, for the Ruffian Rail card. So we have 4, 5, 8 searchers, I guess. Special Schedule is our Monster Reborn. It will summon it in defense position, which sucks, but hey, it will summon out our Night Express Knights pretty quickly. This is in the TCG, isn't it? Yeah, it's in the TCG. I don't know why, but for a second I thought this card came out in Dark Illusions as well. Twin Twister is Twin Twister. You can ditch Ruffian Rail card to get off a search during the end phase, but just being able to get rid of backwards is pretty strong, because Solemn Strike can get rid of number 81. And that's honestly one of the reasons why this deck isn't as strong, is because of Strike, and it can get rid of this card that's supposed to not be getting rid of once you made him. Revolving Switchyard is Revolving Switchyard. If you summon out a level 10 Earth Machine type normal special summon, you can. Opponent takes no battle damage for the rest of the turn. You can special summon a level 4 such as Ruffian Railcar with 1800 or more attack, and it becomes level 10. So you summon out this guy, summons out this guy, and boom, you have 2 level 10s. And if you have this guy, you have a 3rd one. And you can also ditch one card from your hand and search out a Night Express Knight or a Every Fright Train Durkin. And is that the both effects? Yes, I think that is both effects. And you can only use one effect per turn and only once that turn. And then of course just a whole bunch of back row, all the back row that's at 1 for the most part, and 3 Storm Strikes. So that is pretty much it for this deck. Again, it's pretty much just on making this card and then just having back row. That's just pretty much how it goes. Into the extra deck, we have Cyber Dragons again for the Malefic decks. Norden just to make a rank for it. This guy's pretty great. He's a Harpy Feather Duster. No, he's a heavy. No, he is a Harpy Feather Duster. But your opponent cannot activate cards and effects in response to him, and he's 5,000, so very strong. He's 4,000, and he can target a number monster and summon it in defense vision with its effects negated. And if it is targeted by a monster effect, he can detach an XYZ to negate and destroy that card. This card can burn your opponent. If this card battles an opponent's... Oh, it did. You can attach that monster to this card's face-up XYZ material. And you can inflict 300 to your opponent for each XYZ material attached to this card. So you can make this guy with 3 level 10s and then just take your opponent's monsters. So it's a really great way to get rid of your opponent's monsters. This card will get rid of a card and inflict 1,000 damage. It's honestly not really strong. Like, there isn't any really strong rank 10s besides this guy, which just makes one card on the field, or one monster on the field, unaffected by everything except its own effects. And then we only run one of these guys because you really only need one. I mean, you could probably take this down, but I mean, there really isn't any good rank 10s. I could show you guys all the rank 10s. But this guy will inflict 2,000 to your opponent, and he attacks with 3,000, so that's 5,000 if you get off in a direct attack. This card cannot be destroyed by battle, but it only has 1,000 attack. When a monster you control inflicts damage to your opponent, you gain life points equal to damage they took. So, if you had 4 level 10s and could inflict damage to your opponent, you can make this guy. This card, though, this card is actually pretty strong. All monsters you control gain attack and defense equal to the difference between both players' life points. So that's really great that it says difference between both, because that means it's always positive. If it was worded differently, then technically you could lose attack. But this guy always gains attack. So even if you're down low, like if your opponent pummeled you and then you make this guy, he can be like 7,000 attack. If you have 1,000, your opponent still has 8,000. So that's extremely strong. And of course he buffs all over your monsters. So if you have this guy out and this guy out, that's 12,000 right there on him. Or it depends. And then Dark Rebellion is Dark Rebellion, and Castell'll get rid of stuff. And that is pretty much it for this deck. Again, I don't feel it's very competitive because it's a little bit slow. It isn't even great at stun. Like, I mean, coming from the Traptrix deck before on the Traptrix tools I did where I had 5 back row. This just doesn't have enough back row. Dark Magician is really awful against this deck. Just having to go up against Dark Magician can be very annoying. Like, yeah, you can make this card unaffected, and it can pop if you choose to pop Dark Magic Circle. That will be very strong if you can't pop it with this card. If you're detaching this, then it's not so good. But I just feel against the format, there's just way too much stuff, way too many things that can just get around this. Or just bait it out. Like, yeah, you target it, make it unaffected, but I mean, your opponent can make a field because you don't have enough stun. Maybe it might not be a bad idea to run Rivalry or Gozen in this deck. Like, I understand we're running Darks and Earths in this deck, but hey, it might not be the worst thing in the world. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this deck profile. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. See you guys later.